Hello everyone, this is Tribecast. My name is Marina, and I have sad news for you. This summer has ended. Therefore, today you will hear the last episode of Tribecast Summer Tour 2019, and our final destination was Helsinki. First, Tribecast visited Terkko Health Hub, where I talked with Jakko Kaikuluoma from MVision AI, Kristian Alaviuhkola from SciAR, and Terkko's Head of Partnership, Rashad Izmayilzada. And then the mics were plugged in at Maria 01, where Tribecast guests were Kim Oguilve, the Chief Marketing Officer, and Ann-Getter Annuk from Proximi AI. That was an intense day, and now I'm ready to share it with you, so let's get started. We're in Terkko Health Hub, Helsinki, because it's Tribecast Summer Tour episode Helsinki. My name is still Marina, this is still Tribecast. We're still waiting for the Terkko Health Hub management to talk to us, but this will happen later. And for now, we'll start with the people who actually work here. So, hello, and tell us about
Marina.
yourself.
Hi, I'm Jakko Kaikuluoma, and I've been a guest here in Terkko for a few months now. I'm working with a company called MVision, and we work with hospitals. We provide them with this AI-powered automatic contouring tool that is used in radiotherapy treatment planning in 8 hospitals in 5 countries.
Impressive. Can you explain a little bit more for people who are not that medical? What exactly, how the thing works?
Sure. So when a patient goes into radiotherapy, there is this treatment planning process. And it includes taking either a CT scan or an MRI picture. That helps the physicians and physicists who work in the radiotherapy department do dosage calculations and everything. They need to calculate how much radiation they will give to the patient. So there, when the images are taken, the professionals have to draw the contours or outlines of different organs that are on the exposed area. So that is a manual task, but MVision has created this automatic tool that basically does the job for these professionals. So that translates to direct cost savings, and also in many cases a more standardized quality in the work.
Let's get back to the roots. Jakko, how have you ended up there where you are? Are you a doctor or an IT person? I have no other options for what you are doing, so it's either or. And now you're like, I'm a musician.
No, I'm actually neither those. My study background is in technology, so I'm a Master of Science. I did my degree in Aalto University in Otaniemi. Yeah, my professional background is in software industry. So I've done sales work and marketing work mainly for the last 9 years or so. Yeah, I actually went to this health tech industry after my master's thesis, which I did in healthcare. So I kind of combined healthcare and my software background, and therefore came to health tech. And I worked for a company called Kaiku Health previously, which is a very promising Finnish company operating in the health tech space. And now I'm working with MVision.
What kind of team MVision has?
I think we are 6 people, so mainly technical personnel, but more and more we need emphasis on the sales side, because now the technology is pretty much ready for deployment, and that doesn't happen automatically. It requires a lot of work to get hospitals actually to purchase software and to get them to change their treatment planning process. It's a huge amount of work. So sales and customer support is definitely something that needs to be worked on. Next, I'm here to help.
Right. So you basically have a ready product. It's not a pilot anymore.
Yes.
How long did it take for the company to develop the product? Like from very beginning, how old is the startup? Let's put it this way.
The company was founded in early 2018, So it's been 1.5 years.
Right.
But it always depends on what kind of product you're building and how much validation and like regulatory hurdles you have before you can actually sell the product. In health tech, that is commonly quite a hurdle actually to get hospitals to implement new software, because in order to implement you need to have these certificates, like regulatory certificates, and those are not easy to come by. Like you need customers and you need partners to get those, and those partners are hard to get because you're not yet certified. So as to your question, how long it takes, well, it might take anything from a few months to a few years. There are a lot of projects that never mature to like business phase. They die being only a development project that has lasted 5 years or so.
Why to do a medtech company then?
Well,
I mean, when I first started working in a startup community, I thought that I still had this idea that a startup is something about IT, so either gaming or some kind of app or something like that. And now my experience tells me that there are all kinds of startups, and medtech seems to be one of the most tricky, if not the trickiest field, because of all the regulations, and also because if you go to a market outside of your home country, you face the new regulations and the new traditions, so to say, which work for the medical sphere in this particular country. So there are like lots of obstacles. So why to do it? Why you personally ended up doing that instead of working for a game company? You could have been in Arovia now.
I know, it's true. And you're right about what you said. It's a tricky field. You really need to be committed to get anything done in medtech. But I think many people working here have some ideology. They want to contribute to world and to well-being of human beings. And that is something that's very hard to accomplish if you're working for a gaming company or building some sort of new app that is not that crucial for human beings and their well-being, but maybe just addictive or something related to advertising, or like there are very many options that might be interesting in a professional sense, but finding meaning is another factor that many of us has to consider. And I believe that in medtech, people have done that work and that consideration. But yeah, also when companies succeed in medtech, when they get that momentum, when hospitals actually start using the system or the technology, then often the growth is very fast because, you know, doctors are very networked people. So whenever you get access to these networks, the things, they start building up. And when something is finally accepted as a beneficial technology, then the growth is very fast. So people who are committed to work in long term and not just do a 1 year in and out startup, I think medtech might be a good option.
All right. Thank you for the explanation. And I heard the buzzword network. So probably I'm going to ask this as my last question for this interview. Why have you ended up having an office here in Terkko Health Hub? Why do, in your understanding, why should startups, or maybe they shouldn't, maybe you're suffering here, I don't know. Yeah, why startups get together in different kind of hubs?
I think there are quite a few factors behind that, but often it's good to have peers. When a new startup is founded, you don't have anything. Like you're building something from zero, and I think it's pretty much soothing to be around people who are in a similar situation. So that's the reason why startups end up in hubs. I wasn't the one making the decision to come here to Terkko. That was done way before I joined the team. But I think it's a good space. It's close to the hospital, like physically close. And I think it's good to have like these focused hubs, because in medtech there are like things special to medtech, like these regulations that we spoke about, and talking about those with other peers who struggle with this similar questions. I think it's good. We can help each other.
I would like to inform you that, in my opinion, one of the ways to see and make networks with more peers for early stage or not that early stage startups is going to different kind of events and festivals. And therefore, I would like to invite you and your startup to Stream Startup Festival in October in Tampere. It's 3rd of October and the tickets are already on. So we'll be happy to see you in Tampere. Thank you very much, Jakko, for having time for this interview. I know I was a little bit late for this recording start, so thank you for your patience as well.
Thank you very much.
And before we head off to Maria 01, which is our next destination, I met some familiar faces in Terkko Health Hub. So, hello, Kristian. And before we continue to the interview, let me congratulate you, SciAR, on the great performance during Ship Startup Festival.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is how networking works in Finnish startup ecosystem. You go to Kotka, meet startup from Helsinki, and then visit them in Helsinki.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah. But first things first, Kristian, could you please tell our listeners a few things about yourself?
Okay, yes. So actually I have about 20 years experience as an airline pilot and instructor. And then I got a diagnosis of Meniere disease, which ended up on my flying career. Well, then I started to study about molecular biosciences in Helsinki University, where I met Joel, who is also one of our co-founders. And then
was it love from the first sight?
Actually, we started to think that maybe this academic thing is not for us, that the private sector might be something more suitable. And one thing led to another, and then we ended up to start this SciAR company about a year ago.
So could you explain a bit to our listeners, what do you do? What's your product?
Yeah, actually, first we pretty soon realized that there are a lot of things that can be done differently in laboratory environment. And for me, for example, it was really hard to understand why things are still, even today, done the way they are. Even though, for example, we have all the tools to mitigate errors and to make human work more standard. For example, that's what have been done in aviation industry for decades already. So what we do is that we are bringing those methods from aviation industry to lab environment. And our mission is to standardize human work and to make science more repeatable so that it's easier to replicate someone else's experiment, for example, by help of augmented reality and, like I said, the methods from aviation industry. And we bring, for example, machine vision algorithms so that we can detect markers, letters, numbers, and even objects. So we can basically monitor that all those protocols, that they are followed accordingly. And from all the data that we can gather, we can create automatic and accurate documentation, basically.
Though it was Joel pitching at Ship Startup Festival in Kotka.
Yeah.
And by the way, let me remind our listeners that we had a special episode of Ship Start Festival, also known as Kotka episode of Tribecast Summer Tour, and you can listen to it on our regular platforms, which are iTunes, YouTube, and Spreaker. And of course, you can follow on Twitter to leave us some feedback. It was Joel pitching at Kotka, but still, maybe I guess you had some plans and discussions before pitching and maybe some small changes during the event. So how do you win a pitching competition as a startup?
Well, I think
of course there are like many ways, but what's your recipe?
What we have like learned that we try to bring at least some kind of story. Well, maybe not that like a story, but at least a little bit like storytelling to our pitch. And then, of course, it needs to fill all the elements that are required. Then we just try to, for example, tell the problem as clear as possible, and also then you need to describe your solution as clear as possible. You just can't assume that all the audience or all the judges that they are professionals who knows all the same things that you do. So the difficulty is that how to explain the problem and how to explain your solution so that it's easy to understand even for basically to everyone.
Okay. And this year during SHIP, the winner or one of the participants of the winning startups of last year, Never the Need, was mentoring the startups of this year. Have
Yeah.
you already got an invitation for the SHIP 2020?
Not yet, no.
Will you agree to it?
Well, if we have time, yeah,
Okay.
definitely. But hopefully we are busier next year than this year. But if we have time, most definitely, yeah.
Okay, this is like ping, anti-vitamin ping.
Yeah.
So today we're talking here at Terkko Health Hub in Helsinki,
Yes.
where you have your office.